who's arrived from Augsburg. Referee Armando Villarreal. And Borussia Dortmund in their famous yellow and black. Every week when they play at home, or their home matches anyway, they get crowds of 80,000, the best supported club in terms of numbers anywhere in Europe. They've tried to create a bit of the yellow wall here, Stuart, by the look of it, away to the right-hand side.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They are a great supported side. They've got a stronger side out than Manchester City today. And we're looking out for Pulisic down that right-hand side. And Larson will play on the left, but big game for Isak, the centre forward. He's got to try and lead the line here for Dortmund.
This is Jason Denayer. He's one of those players, I think everybody had forgotten he was a Manchester City player. He was away in Galatasaray last season. But I'm interested to see Phil Foden in that midfield for Manchester City, because if all reports are to be believed, he is an England star of the future, and it'll be interesting to see how many more minutes he gets in the Premier League this season. And alongside him, another exciting teenager, Brahim Diaz. Watch for him. He'll be wearing the number 55 shirt.
Going back to Phil Foden, he was player of the tournament at the Under-17 World Cup, which England won. He's a very talented player. Came to the fore very much in this tournament last year when he played against Manchester United.
That is Foden. Jack Harrison in the Manchester City lineup. New York City fans will remember him, of course. City building up with Riyad Mahrez getting his first touch, and then is Diaz cutting it back.
Good run from midfield, Diaz. First touch for Mahrez. Lovely little ball play down the side.
Manchester City, of course, in their sky blue outfit. 106 goals they scored in the Premier League last season, 100 points, both records. They were only beaten twice in the whole campaign. Once United, when they surrendered a 2-0 lead. 16 players away at the World Cup, so this is an unfamiliar looking side. Foden looking to break through down the left-hand side, brought away by Toprak, who's one of the first-team regulars who's in this Borussia Dortmund side. Dortmund need a striker, don't they? They've been trying to buy Mario Mandzukic, who starred for Croatia at the World Cup. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. City posing a threat early on down the left-hand side in particular.
What a pass it was from Bravo. That's what he was brought to do when he first came to the side. Bockhorn, the defender, good pace against Harrison on that occasion. He's the new manager.
Yeah, Lucien Favre, who's got a nice way about him with the players. He wants the slick passing, high press type of football from Borussia Dortmund, who have been through a bit of turmoil. They've been going through managers. I think they've had 4 now in the last 14 months, and last season kind of went sour on them, though they did just make it into the Champions League.
And if you can get a tune out of Balotelli, as he did at Nice, then you can get a tune out of most players, I would imagine.
Yeah, so I was going to say all-man management after that. It's a piece of cake, isn't it? There's Mario Götze, didn't make it this time into Germany's World Cup squad. His star has been on the wane, rather. He's captaining Borussia Dortmund here. Zinchenko, most people believe, will be on his way out of Manchester City in the next few weeks.
Same tactical flaw we saw last season, the fullback. On this occasion, Zinchenko coming in field to make that extra man. And he goes back out when they're defending.
It's the new goalkeeper, Hitz, who did pretty well for Augsburg in the Bundesliga last season. Inside is the number 2 to Roman Bürki, the Swiss international.
Zinchenko diving in on Pulisic. It's a good battle on that far side of the field.
US Soccer have just released a film called rising about Christian Pulisic. It's going to feature a few other players in the series before it's finished, but he says in there, while he liked being called the Wonder Kid, he now feels he wants to be a fully fledged senior player and a bit of a leader.
At some point, you have to go from being a talented youngster to being one of the key players. He's a key player, obviously, for the USA. He needs to be one of the key players in this Borussia Dortmund side. There's a lot of players to come back in. He's got to impress the new manager.
The US team will hope he is leading a revival after the bitter disappointment of not qualifying for the World Cup. I mean, everybody in US soccer here in Chicago, where they're based, of course, is going to feel a bit better now that World Cup is finished and out of the way. Get on with it a bit. Here's Isak playing the ball back to Schmelzer. Isak, who got the winner a few days ago against Austria Vienna in another pre-season match for Dortmund.
Swedish player, Isak.
Back to top rack again.
So far, there hasn't really been a threat in behind from Borussia Dortmund. Not looking to play forward quite quickly enough. Back to the goalkeeper and out of play.
This is the first match of the International Champions Cup, and Pep Guardiola is having to just improvise a little bit because Manchester City, with 16 players away in Russia, have decided that they need a break emotionally, maybe more than physically, and most of them have been given 3 weeks off, so they may not even be ready for Manchester City's first game of the new Premier League season against Arsenal. Bolton to lay it inside. Not too accurately, though. Roeder played it forward. Been chased by the Danish wide man, Brun Larsen, getting a run out here for Dortmund. I mean, what it is here is it's a chance for a lot of the young players to maybe catch the boss's eye, isn't it?
Yeah, and a lot of the players we've heard a lot about having great potential. They bought some of these players, Manchester City in particular, for quite a price. Haven't yet played much football.
Harrison. Set up by Phil Foden. He's already shown up quite nicely on that left-hand side of midfield.
Good play. Pulisic just went past Zinchenko really easily there. That's the second foul he's made. He's going to be under pressure. The referee just giving him that warning. Good touch, just in field. There's the grab of the shirt. Quite rightly had a word with in a non-friendly game. That would have been a booking.
Yeah, no question about it. Because the referees like to play the game a little bit with the clubs, but I don't think the players will be allowed to take too many liberties, or shouldn't be allowed to anyway. Isak. He's got him behind him and the flag is up. He did look offside.
Well, I said there wasn't too many runs in behind. They weren't looking to play that ball. That's the first run that Isak has tried to make. That time in behind Denayer. He was just offside, though.
Zagadou playing the ball across, a French teenager who got a bit of a look in last season in the Champions League. I remember him coming on against Tottenham at Wembley. Really messed up the Champions League, Borussia Dortmund. They were in a tough group with Real Madrid and Tottenham, but starting off looking brilliant the first 20 minutes against Spurs. It all went to pieces for them, rather. Pulisic laid it wide there. Going it right back today's Herbert Bockhorn, second team player. There will be numerous substitutions as well, for the very good reason that the players have only been back for a week or two training. They probably haven't got 90 minutes in their legs yet.
Certainly don't want to get in any injuries at this point. Here's the ball over the top again. Manchester City holding a very high line there. The player they were trying to get in was Brun Larsen.
Tomorrow morning, ESPN2 and ESPN Deportes, 10 o'clock Eastern, another game in this International Champions Cup, as Bayern Munich face Paris Saint-Germain, the French champions. Available as well on the ESPN app, and all brought to you by Heineken. This is Douglas Luiz, who's a Brazilian under-20 player who cost the club quite a lot of money. Garcia hitting it long. Foden winning the ball back.
That's a ploy that Manchester City have already used. That big diagonal out to Harrison. He looks like he's got the beating of Bockhorn on that far side.
Denier towards Harrison, who was brought to Manchester last January after playing in Major League Soccer here in the United States, and then sent out on loan to play for Middlesbrough in the Championship.
Certainly a talented player. He played on the right-hand side today. He's playing on the left to allow Mahrez to make his debut and on this near side.
He's hardly had a touch yet, Riyad Mahrez, has he?
Here comes the big diagonal at some point. He's up against a player that had a poor season last year, Schmelzer.
Lost the captaincy as well. He's relinquished that, and he's had a fair bit of criticism from the Borussia Dortmund fans, Schmelzer.
Metcher is playing up front for Manchester City. Young player that's a lot of potential. Done well at youth level, reserve level, national team, junior sides.
Zinchenko was beaten there. Time Pulisic gets the ball. Brun Larsen, this is the Danish youngster, and then Goetze trying his luck. Straight at Claudio Bravo.
That's what you expect to see from Goetze, playing in that number 10 role, just behind the main striker, joining in the play. It's another good crossfield pass. Does really well to cut inside, does Brun Larsen. Easy save in the end for Bravo.
It's a poor ball out of defence that by Manchester City. Now then, Mahrez on the chase. He's not going to get there first of all because Zagadou is across to do the covering. Arrived as a free transfer from Paris Saint-Germain last year. Dan Axel Zagadou. Here he is on the ball now.
I think it's fair to say he's a big specimen of a player.
Foden tried to feed Nacha. Of course, all these Dortmund players they're trying to remember what the new coach wants, aren't they? The way he wants them playing, and that might take a little bit of time.
This is the most important time for Favre to get his points across, to make sure in training leading up to those first games the players know exactly what is expected of them in each different role, how they're going to press the ball, how they're going to drop off at the right time, what they do when they're in possession.
I mean, the good thing for them, Stuart, is of course really when you get a new coach come in, all the cards go up in the air. Everyone's got a pretty equal chance. If you were out of favour under the previous boss, you might not be under the new one. Here's Schmelzer chasing this one. He's been around in the team for 10 years, of course. Zinchenko got the header away for Manchester City.
As always, you were looking at the glass half full. It could be the other way round, where a player that was really liked by the previous coach, a new one comes in, doesn't quite like your style of play or your attitude.
In other words, everybody's on edge.
Yes.
I'm sure you went through that yourself once or twice in your career.
Yep. Lots of new managers. Played under probably 7 or 8. 7 like me, 1 didn't.
Yeah. I think pre-season's changed a little bit, hasn't it, from those days when you used to go on long cross-country runs.
Yep.
Now it's all sports science and trips all over the world.
Sports science is much better. Travelling all around the world can tire you out as well.
Well, you often wonder about that. Of course, a lot of it is commercially orientated, selling the global brand and all that. And Borussia Dortmund have certainly been busy with that in America. They've had a yellow bus going round since early July to various cities in the United States. Big job for anybody to take the title away from Bayern Munich in Germany. They kind of need a sort of Leicester City story there, don't they? Somebody really unexpected shaking it all up.
Or Dortmund really reviving their fortunes this season. but they do need a centre forward, you think, of some quality.
Yeah, they had Michy Batshuayi doing well for them at the back end of last season on loan from Chelsea, but I don't think Chelsea are too interested in letting him go there permanently. And then there's been the talk about Mario Mandzukic. But they'll need to sign somebody because they're just not replaced Aubameyang, who's gone to Arsenal. Mahrez trying to get inside is Foden. Wide to Jack Harrison. He's made a good start down that side against Herbert Bockhorn.
There's not too much cover behind Bockhorn. Centre half is going narrow. Midfield players not supporting, so it's a chance for Jack Harrison in 1v1 situations. Zonal marking from Dortmund. Which may be the way forward when VAR comes into play everywhere around the world. The holding or pushing will be spotting.
It might take some time. It's not happening in England and it's not happening in the Champions League this season. So that might look quite a dinosaurish decision by the time we're through, I think. Zinchenko defeated wide. Mahrez with the cross. Goalkeeper did enough, the new arrival.
Not sure it was convincing. It seemed to be one thing or the other. Punch or did he try and catch it, flapped at it slightly.
It's a good flap though, wasn't it?
It was a good flap,
got to
out the area, yeah.
If there can be such a thing as a good flap.
Here it comes again, Mahrez with the cross. Certainly made his mind up to come for it quite early, the goalkeeper. Hits.
He's already 30 years of age. It does look like he'll be on the bench for most of the season, unless he can get past Roman Bürki. Roman Weidenfeller, the long-serving goalkeeper, is now retired, so he won't be part of the equation anymore after his distinguished service. Zagadou. Isaac. Angling figure, his Mahrez. Does Mahrez get into the starting lineup on a regular basis for Manchester City? They've got Raheem Sterling, they've got Bernardo Silva, who they bought for £43 million last year, and he couldn't get in the team as a starter anyway on a regular basis.
And also they've got Leroy Sané to give width out on the left-hand side, so will he want to always play with great width on both sides of the field? I think he'll play more often than not. He certainly makes them a much better squad, in my view, a much better team as well.
They wanted to sign Jorginho as well from Napoli. It looked like that was done, and then Chelsea rather hijacked it all, and he's going there instead to play for his old boss. Xavi has just become the manager of Chelsea. Around the corner by Roda. And Gertz finds a good-looking ball. Bockhorn. The right back cuts back. Wonderful opportunity here. Schmelzer, can he finish it? It was an inviting opportunity.
Brilliant football from Dortmund. One-touch football played. Ball's played round the corner. It was started by Roda. Fullback got high up the pitch. His first touch wasn't quite good enough. Schmelzer.
It's good to see Roda back in that midfield, the former Bayern Munich player who's been out for a year. I think it's been a groin problem he's had, isn't it? Must have been a serious one.
Yep.
And I think that would be a yellow card in a normal competitive game, but it's going to get away with it here.
Those two players come up against each. Foden just taking the touch away from Roda, who rugby tackles him almost.
I was going to say that was almost mixed martial arts, wasn't it? Zinchenko in a more unfamiliar central role here. Used to seeing him as a left back or left wing back.
He does that. Goes back to being a left back and a left wing back when Borussia Dortmund are in possession. He becomes a midfield player when Man City have got the ball. He used to do it. Philip Lahm. Now calibre Bayern Munich did Pep Guardiola.
Harrison goes for the return. Zagadou there in the nick of time, but he's looked lively over there as Jack Harrison.
I'd say he's been the most dangerous player on the field so far. Really good start for him.
Didn't quite pick up Brahim Diaz, who scored a spectacular goal last summer against Real Madrid in this tournament. Got another against Spurs as well. Here's Mario Götze. 4 years really is a long time in football till the next cycle. Who'd have thought he wouldn't even make the 23? Well, I think it was pretty obvious by the time he was picked, but 4 years prior to that, you'd have thought he'd be a central character.
He's had a lot of problems, hasn't he, since the last World Cup? Injuries, loss of form, loss of confidence.
Yeah, I think he had a condition as well that meant he could put on weight easily too, didn't he?
That condition seems to go around.
Yeah. Tends to happen when you go to Bergabast.
Yeah. Once you get over the age of 50.
Keep on running. Try anyway. His top rack. Zagadou to lay it forward. Morris has given the ball away to Isak. Now Götze. His second spell now with Borussia Dortmund after what was an unsuccessful stint really at Bayern Munich. Here he is on the ball again now. Still got that football brain, that cleverness. It's whether he can re-establish himself as a top liner.
When he was 18, 19, he was going to be the new face of German football. Very talented when he was at Dortmund the first time round. Tries to play the little 1-2 here, doesn't get the return. There's the foul from Isak.
Of course, we may see him later on the Manchester City side, Leroy Sané. It was a good World Cup to miss. If you were German, I think it's better off on the beach the way it turned out. What a shot. Bottom of the group.
The surprising thing was the way, the reason that Jürgen Löw gave for not taking Leroy Sané, that I think of it as though he would be a good squad member if he wasn't in the team. Fairly damning.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I don't think they really saw eye to eye. I think it's part of it in a tight decision. Schmalzer clearing up. I think it was Julian Brandt really who got the place, wasn't it? Instead. The International Champions Cup presented by Heineken. Open your world, enjoy responsibly. And in part by the US Army. Find out more at goarmy.com. Here's Mahrez. He was supposed to move in January and almost went on strike at Leicester City because he was so disappointed it didn't happen then. Eventually he got his head together and started scoring goals and influencing matches again for Leicester. In fact, he scored in the last 2 games of last season for Leicester City against Spurs and Arsenal.
Make no mistake about it, when he's on form, playing with confidence, he's almost unstoppable at times. That season that you were talking about earlier when Leicester won the title.
Yeah.
We all talk about Conte as the holding midfield player was excellent, the goals from Vardy, but the player that gave him that little bit of inspiration was Mahrez.
And he only cost £400,000. That's what Leicester paid for him. They've sold him for £60 million or $75 million roughly. How about that?
I think the chief scout will dine off that for a few years to come.
Well, it was Mr. Walsh, wasn't it, who went off to Everton. These guys who do the recruitment have a big job. Trust their judgment. If you can find an uncut diamond somewhere, it's worth zillions. Foden back to Mahrez.
Just trying to change something here, Pep Guardiola. Wants Diaz to come that little bit wider and Mahrez to go in field. He got involved so far, Diaz, the number 55.
No. But you hear a lot of good reports about him, don't you? It is hard for a young player to break through at a big club like Manchester City these days because they've got so much money. They can go out and buy a guy who's got 300 games under his belt.
When you are given your chance, you've got to take it almost immediately. You get too many opportunities.
Zagadou, no breakthrough yet for either side in this, the first game of the International Champions Cup. Complicated a little bit this year because it's a World Cup year, and obviously the World Cup players need some recovery time, and a few of them won't be involved in this. A few will, mind you. Benjamin Mendy, who was part of the French winning squad, he didn't play at all, didn't get on the pitch. He's arriving in the next couple of days to join Manchester City. And Bernardo Silva too, who was with Portugal.
He'd been disappointed with his World Cup, Bernardo Silva. Started games but often came off.
He's not going to get to that one. He's not really had much of a look in so far. Manchester City had 7 players who got to the semi-final stage of the World Cup. With England and Belgium. And Mecha laying it off Zinchenko. Now here comes Borussia Dortmund. Pulisic. And that little buzz of expectation. Oh, he goes down. It's going to be a penalty that far by Zinchenko. Pulisic's won the penalty, and Dortmund are going to have the chance to go ahead.
Well, when we see it, it's really good play from Pulisic. Squares up Zinchenko. There's where they win the ball back. Not good play from Douglas Luiz. Then when they switch the play, it's a 1v1. Pulisic has got the beating of Zinchenko. Squares him up, goes past him. It's a poor challenge. Interesting to see how much contact was there, but great opportunity now for Dortmund to take the lead.
Claudio Bravo's gone walkabout, a little bit of gamesmanship. So the referee should really be clamping down on all of that, having a drink of water, making the take a wait. It's Mario Götze anyway who's going to take it. And scores. The goalkeeper got something on it, but not enough.
I think he tries to go down the middle. It's the trailing arm from Bravo, but can't get enough on it. It's a great penalty from Götze. That's what we were talking about with Pulisic, getting assists, making goals, scoring goals. He's made this one here for Götze. Down the middle, could do better maybe. Goalkeeper, Bravo.
Well, maybe that Russian goalkeeper Akinfeev would have saved that one. Remember that one at the World Cup?
Yep.
Trailing foot doing the job. It's amazing how many penalties are taken down the middle now.
Well, they watch goalkeepers dive one way or the other. If they hit it high enough down the middle, it usually scores.
It's a goal for Götze. He only got 2 in the Bundesliga last season in 23 appearances. The goals have rather dried up for him. He is an attacking, brainy midfield player who used to come up with a few more.
As we were talking about earlier, he just hasn't had the energy the last couple of years. He's been injured. Well, he looks as though he's struggling in games. Looks a bit fitter here today.
Diaz couldn't bring it under control. Be understandable. The players are not up at full sharpness yet. They can't be.
That was a worrying bit of defending from Zinchenko then. Technically it was all wrong. Got himself squared up, just stuck out that left boot. Didn't show Pulisic one way or the other.
Back to Douglas Luiz. Now to lay wide, Harrison inside. He's the man who gave away the penalty, claiming a handball there against Isak. Referee not interested. Top rack. And Manchester City playing very high. There's a lot of room behind. This time for Brun Larsen, but the flag's up.
One way you can beat an offside line is for wide players to make those diagonal runs in between the fullback and the centre half. Just made it a fraction too early on that occasion. Brun Larsen.
It's interesting if you read Pep Guardiola's book about some of his coaching efforts, as Mahrez is left in a heap in midfield there by Burnic.
Get a yellow card here, Burnic, for that challenge.
Yeah, that's the first one. He's not having that, the referee.
It's interesting that Zinchenko, having already been mauled a couple of times, committed the foul. It's late. He does well, Mahrez, just to put his foot across the challenge that's coming in. Burnic thought he could win the ball.
So yellow card, the first of the day for the 20-year-old. Chili's Burnic. Harrison. Harrison's an interesting character. He was the #1 pick in the MLS Super Draft in 2016 by Chicago Fire, the local team here, but they traded him to New York City. On the ball now. Foden blocked out. Isak on the chase here. Douglas Luiz doing his job. He's another player City loaned out last year. Goetze, Burnic, Pulisic, Isak could make it 2 here and only finds a side netting.
Pulisic getting involved again, coming infield, swapping positions with Isak. Good movement from the front players. There's a little pass. Goes past Bravo. Almost brings him down. There's not really enough space to get it in at that near post. Could have cut it back for a couple of players in the 6-yard box. Did well to take his arms out of the way in the end, Bravo.
Good spell here for Borussia Dortmund, buoyed a little bit by that goal, no doubt. Two clubs who haven't run into each other too often. A few seasons ago in the Champions League, where Borussia Dortmund won one of the games and the other one was drawn. It was back in 2013 that Dortmund got to the final of the Champions League. That all-German affair against Bayern Munich at Wembley. I think that was when Goetze was just about to join Bayern Munich and didn't play, rather controversially, in the match.
That was when he was at his very best, just before he joined Bayern Munich.
Brahim Diaz, brought down by Marcel Schmelzer.
Yeah, looks like he's playing out on the right-hand side. Diaz.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's where he really wants to play, but they want to get Mahrez involved in the game a bit more. Playing off of Metro really hasn't affected the game at all as the centre forward.
Did get a few run-outs last season, did it, in Metro's around the first-team group. It's down the pecking order, really. I remember him coming on at West Ham when City won 4-1. Guardiola, his tactical variations are endless. I think he is the world's most restless and innovative coach.
Some nice problems with the squad that he's got.
One of the problems is retaining the title, though, Stuart. Nobody's done that for 10 years in England.
Man City have previously struggled under Mancini, and he won the title. Pellegrini as well.
was kept in play over on that side. Pulisic has seen him involved in the game too much so far, but decisively on the penalty brought down by Zinchenko. I think he had got pretty tired at the back end of last season, which is why the USA didn't use him against France. But here he is now.
Good bit of skill to go past Zinchenko, struggling at left back. He was waiting, he was looking for the movement in the box. Maybe he took one touch too many before whipping it in.
Still only 19, Christian Pulisic. He seems to have been around for quite a long time. Members of his family are here, and of course he will play in his home state next week against Benfica at Pittsburgh.
Zagadou will be a target here, the biggest player in the box, number 2.
Yeah, he almost got it as well. He was the one attacking it. It's a good call, Stuart.
He's a big player. He's actually been good on the ball as well. A decent left foot, Zagadou. Another centre-half at their ball, Diallo from Mainz. He's another big player that's comfortable on the ball. He was almost responsible for Mainz staying up towards the end of last season. 2 or 3 really good performances come the end.
So I think his arrival enabled them to let Socrates go to Arsenal. More business to do, though, for Borussia Dortmund, who've got a tough start, really, once the league gets going. In about a month's time, they're facing Leipzig first time up. More action in this competition on Sunday on ESPN and ESPN Deportes at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. As Liverpool face Borussia Dortmund. Liverpool, who've named a pretty strong squad. Mo Salah's in it, by the way. It's available too on the ESPN app. Don't forget, this is all brought to you by Heineken. Luiz lays it forward to Mahrez, and he explode into the game. Shot by Roda in midfield. Garcia to Luke Bolton. I've got to come clean with you. Some of these players we're seeing for the first time as well, Stuart. Some of these youngsters from the academy who have been brought on the tour.
And I've got to say, from every report I read about Luke Bolton, they said he was a powerful centre forward.
Yeah.
And he's playing at right back here.
Yeah, that's caught us out a bit, we'll be honest.
Scored a lot of goals at youth team level.
Yeah. He was part of the England under-20 side that won the Toulon tournament last year. Yes, that's what it told us when we looked on the Manchester City website to find out more about some of these youngsters, and we were told he was a striker, but he's right back here. Maybe it's another of those Pep Guardiola moves.
Looked at his athleticism, looked at his qualities, and thought probably maybe not a strike. He could make you into a fullback. He's done it with several other players in the past. Mascherano, he made from a midfield player into a centre-half. Same with Kimmich for a while. Now playing back at right back.
Fabian Delph, of course, very handy at left back, wasn't he? Really a central midfield player by trade. Used in both roles by England in that third place game against Belgium. Zagadou here for Borussia Dortmund, leading by Mario Götze's penalty. Brun Larsen wouldn't just drop into his path. Götze again with his head up towards Roda. It's not really cut out that by Denier. Zinchenko across on the cover, just as well he was there.
I've got to say they've been the more threatening side. Borussia Dortmund got slightly more experience in their team. First touch, and just had to shove Garcia out the way.
By the way, Joe Hart has made this trip as well. The discarded England goalkeeper is still a Manchester City player. Pep Guardiola, I think, said yesterday the club will do everything they can to get him to find a new club that he'd like. He obviously doesn't have a future at Manchester City. Although Guardiola said yesterday he is an incredible professional, his words. He just doesn't want to keep him.
I think he made that quite clear at the start of last season. Called in Bravo, played hard, got him out of sight fairly quickly.
I think it was pretty open season before he even arrived at Guardiola. I think everybody thought he's not going to like Joe Hart.
He obviously put it down somewhere.
Bolton. To Garcia. Now Denier. Round the corner. Zinchenko, and he can't find Enmecha, who, to be fair to him, the 19-year-old is not getting any kind of service.
That was a better run for him. He was trying to get in behind the centre-half, the aging centre-half, top rack. Good player over the years for Dortmund then, for Turkey.
And Bayer Leverkusen too, of course, before. Vernic's ball down the side for Run Larsen. Marco Reus is the captain now of the club. He has arrived and joined the squad, but he's not ready to play yet. I wonder if he'll play in 2 days' time. Probably not, will he?
I think it might be a bit too early for him.
Home unexpectedly early from the World Cup. It's Brahim Diaz. Looks like a corner, yeah, I think.
Ronan might have been trying to con the referee there. They'd like to take it short. There's 2 balls on the field at the moment. That's why they can't take it quickly.
Mahrez, Brahim Diaz, cut back, and unable to get the shot away. Harrison. All got rather stuck in his feet, didn't it?
Clever pass though from Mahrez to Diaz.
Coming up on the Ally half-time report, we'll have highlights of the first half if you've missed them, and we'll discuss Cristiano Ronaldo's big move to Serie A and Juventus. And 1 or 2 other transfers that have taken our eye as well. Isaac. That was Luiz who cut it out. Sent him to La Liga and Girona last season. Actually paid $13 million for him. Some misunderstanding there, Mahrez and Diaz. Denier cutting it out, deciding he's going on a little excursion of his own.
Almost another forgotten man at Manchester City.
Harrison. Easy for Ömer Toprak to cut that out. It's not a word you often use about Manchester City, but here, with this experimental side, they've looked punchless, frankly, so far.
Really threatened the back. The only player that's really looked a threat has been Harrison out on that left-hand side.
Here's Enmecha. He bulldozes his way through and getting a free kick. There might be something here for City.
I think you described it exactly right. Bulldozing his way through. There's no finesse there. Shrugging a couple of challenges. Goes into the back of Goetze. Lost control of the ball and then started to throw himself to the ground before Zagadou made the challenge.
I think the initial challenge when he was the meat in the sandwich, he might have had a bit more of a case. Well, Mahrez is going to fancy this, isn't he? Can he get a goal on his first outing in that sky blue shirt.
Douglas Luiz over it as well.
Yeah.
He'll be the right footer. Mahrez the left footer.
Better angle for a right footer maybe. And Mahrez is going to take it. And it takes a great save. That is a good save by Hitz because it deflected on the way through too.
First of all, it's an excellent free kick. It sounded as though it looked as though it took a deflection, but what a save it is. Just to get across very quickly. It's a really strong right hand to push it over the bar. Excellent from Hitz. It's going a long way wide before it took that deflection off Roda.
Super save that. Got a hug from his new teammates as well. That's half time. Borussia Dortmund ahead, thanks to that fantastic save from Marvin Hitz right at the end of the half to deny Riyad Mahrez. The goal that counts, a penalty by Mario.
Happy with that first half performance, and Joe Hart is one change they've made.
Who'd have thought we'd have seen him in the Manchester City goalkeeper's jersey again, even if it is here in the United States, a long way from home. He almost certainly will start the season with another club. Of course, he wasn't in England's best three goalkeepers as selected for the World Cup by Gareth Southgate. It's been a pretty trying time for him one way and another.
Disappointed first half for Riyad Mahrez. He didn't get that much of the ball. When he didn't make things happen. His player on the near side, Harrison, was more dangerous.
Is Foden, who started brightly, but there was less of an influence, to be fair. He's a lad from Stockport, just south of Manchester.
Tolian is the right back for Borussia Dortmund, an excellent player. Another of that under-21 side that won the European Championship last year. Could play right or left. And from Hoffenheim.
Completely different Borussia Dortmund team, bar the goalkeeper. I think has had a few points in his favour today with that save. Interesting. Here is Sancho, by the way. Made it pretty clear he wanted to leave Manchester City because he couldn't see a path forward, but he's seeing one at Dortmund, all right. One of the bright young things that England have hopes for the future, Jadon Sancho. Nuri Sahin, the experienced midfield player, spreading the play nicely. Here's Sancho. Borussia Dortmund made a useful acquisition as well. He's not involved here today. Ashraf Hakimi, the Moroccan fullback from Real Madrid, on a 2-year loan. Very good young player indeed. Could be good business, that.
Got a lot of players on their books. It's getting the right system, the right formation. A lot of work for the new coach to do.
Tolian. Now make progress and find fourth down this side.
Philip is leading the line. Number 20, he's going to be the main centre forward. Wolf to the right-hand side. Sancho to the left.
Wolf did get 5 Bundesliga goals last season for Eintracht Frankfurt and made 28 appearances, so saw quite a bit of action. Here's Foden. To help it forward to Enmecha. Sergio Aguero and company are on a beach somewhere, enjoying themselves. You probably see them in the gossip columns and all those other pictures that the photographers seem to get no matter where the players turn up on holiday. Good bit of distribution that by the goalkeeper Hitz as well.
And ball given against Sancho.
Zinchenko. Foden. He's a very level-headed young man, Phil Foden.
He's played in a slightly different role here today. He was playing for England. He played out on the right-hand side, coming in on his left foot and making things happen. He's playing in a central midfield role.
He's come a long way from his boys' team, which are known as Reddish Vulcans in Stockport. I think they knew from an early stage that they probably had a professional footballer on their hands. Tapped forward by Philip. Dortmund looking danger. Toljan's in a lot of space if he can be found here. Dahoud from distance. And Joe Hart was just a spectator. I think he kind of knew it was going wide, or at least I think he did.
Well, they played round the pressure in midfield. Dahoud got on the ball. Toljan, the right back, was screaming up down this right-hand side. They back off, they back off. Eventually gets his shot away, tries to cut across it. Joe Hart would have been beaten had it gone into the far corner. He missed the opportunity to play Toljan in. He made a brilliant run from right back.
To be honest with you, I thought that was going in when it left the boot. There was no sign of a challenge, was there? Go on, have a pop, they were saying.
Well, they were worried about the other runs going on. Denier eventually went out, but he's a bit too late.
Dortmund looking the liveliest side involved. Can he get onto the end of that? No, he can't. Liked the pass. Zinchenko for Manchester City. City's next game is in Liverpool in New York. We'll be covering that game for you as well on the 25th. Then they play Bayern Munich on the 28th. Then they go home and face Chelsea in the Community Shield. And then they have Arsenal in the first league game. That's followed by Huddersfield and Wolves. Wolves have been promoted back to the Premier League.
I think if any team's had a chance this season, they've got to attack Manchester City right at the start, with all those players being away on World Cup duty, maybe not coming back until a couple of weeks into the season. It took them until New Year's Day last year to lose a Premier League game.
It's a bit beyond that. It was the 23rd game they played, wasn't it? Incredible, really. Nearly all of them were wins as well. They'd hardly dropped a point by Christmas. I think Everton drew against them second game. They won everything else. It was that 4-3 defeat at Liverpool, wasn't it, the first defeat? I don't think it will be repeated, that kind of form. Absolutely steamrolled all opposition. Manchester United were second, 19 points behind them. United, by the way, will be in the United States in action too, and they'll have a tasty one against Liverpool. You'll catch with us on ESPN. Here's Bolton.
And they're training down in LA, aren't they, at the moment? Manchester United, they always go there.
Playing Club America, aren't they? A game against them before we catch up with them. Yellow card for that challenge.
Dahoud, the player.
Yeah.
He's not too happy about that, Luis. Oh, it's a nasty challenge as well. I'm not quite sure why he did that, Dahoud. Luis wanted a red card for that. Had it been a non-friendly game, he might have been in trouble there, midfield player.
There's Dahoud again. Player of Syrian descent out to Wolf. Good looking cross that. Bolton gets it behind for the corner.
I think he was expecting Sancho to come round the back. Positioning by the full-back Bolton.
Dahoud just went over to develop your point, Stuart, to Douglas Luiz and put his arm round him. I think he said, I know, that was a nasty one. And it's almost like, I hope you'll forgive me. It was a bit of a liberty, really. Flicked on by Wolf, or he tried to. He didn't get anything on it in the end. Brought away by Phil Foden. Dortmund looking the sharper side, it would have to be said at this point. Now gives forfeit hit. Denario foul that one. Good football. Jack Harrison. Now Riyad Mahrez. Turned into trouble. He is fouled.
I'm not sure he made the right option there. There was space outside because he can sweep it with his left foot and use his right to get crosses in. Came back into the traffic. He's won his team a free kick here.
Mahrez will hit this one, I'm pretty sure. Right angle for the left footer, isn't it, for him? Does take a very, very mean free kick. The goalkeeper can testify to that already.
A long way back the ball, it's more than 10 yards.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Big steps taken by the referee there.
Yeah. So here's Mahrez. We wondered where that was ending up. It wasn't too far away.
Behind the goal, they thought it had a chance. It knew it was going wide. There is Jadon Sancho. What a save he made at the end of the first half.
Different for the players these days. They're expected to keep their weight properly in check all through the summer. They're weighed almost every day. Footballers, woe betide them if they're over. Jadon Sancho, quite lively since he came on. In the old days when players in maybe even in your era went out and had a bit of a blowout for the summer, a few beers, some fast food. Or didn't you do that? Were you perfect?
I don't know what you're talking about here.
You were perfect, were you?
I did train during the summer.
Did you? You were super dedicated.
I had too many injuries for not to be able to train.
Fair to say a few others didn't. Would come back quite a lot overweight, wouldn't they, some players?
Yeah, there was a long time you had off. You weren't an international player, some of them had 6 weeks off.
So Manchester. Is it? No, it doesn't look like it.
I think he was trying to kick the ball and Metcha just took it away from him, but that will certainly hurt. He thinks the ball's there. Diallo tries to swipe through it.
Ooh.
It looks bad in slow motion, and it will certainly hurt, but I don't think he meant it. He's trying to kick through the ball, and that's what the referee thought at the same time.
It was a painful one, and I think on that replay, you could almost feel it from here, that.
I saw it on the big screens. They winced as well.
A bit lucky to get away with that, really, because he was on the reckless side, even if there was no intent. Spread wide by Douglas Luiz to Riyad Mahrez. Manchester City trying to plot a way back into this game. They haven't provided too much threat other than that Mahrez free kick. Don't forget, tomorrow morning on ESPN2 and Deportes at 10 Eastern, we'll have another game from this tournament, the one between Bayern Munich and Paris Saint-Germain. Glamour game, that available on the ESPN app as well. And it's all brought to you by Heineken. That's 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning for that game. Zinchenko now for Manchester City. Foden. Luke Bolton. Mahrez. One player who is going to come back a little earlier than anticipated for Manchester City is the England central defender John Stones, who had a magnificent World Cup. Looked imperious at times.
England trying to play it from the back for most of the tournament. Did it quite well up until the last game against Croatia, where they just fell back into their own ways, went back to the goalkeeper, had to play long. Certainly played with confidence, John Stones.
And despite changing their whole team, we've got another couple of substitutes warming up as well. And only Joe Hart, the only change so far for Manchester City. That is a bit of a surprise, isn't it?
Yeah, the rest of the Manchester City substitutes warming up behind the goal, behind Borussia Dortmund's goal, waiting for their chance to come on.
There's a lot of them as well. I think there's going to be a mass change at some point, quite shortly maybe. To play it forward is Brahim Diaz, now Mahrez, the Algerian. They didn't make it to the World Cup.
Little midfield run from Foden there. We haven't seen that since the first couple of minutes of the game. Had it been a better pass from Mahrez, Foden was in.
It is a Manchester City side almost unrecognisable from the one we grew accustomed to. A City player I thought did ever so well at the World Cup. Looked like his old self, Vincent Company. With all his injuries behind him, played a few stormers.
He didn't start in the first two games.
Yeah, I think that they looked after him a bit, you know, Stuart. They thought, we'll use him at the business end. It worked well.
Played in the middle of the back three, I think helped him.
Yeah.
Alderweireld, the top on either side of him. Some experienced players with still good athleticism.
Philip wants it back again, doesn't get it back. Maximilian Philip cost the club about $25 million when he arrived from Freiburg. 9 goals in the Bundesliga. It's not too bad from 20 appearances last year.
He's another player that can play wide or go through the middle, but they've got a lot of players that can play wide. Royce, of course. Kagler's still to come back, who plays in the role just behind the main striker. Andre Schürrle. Big names.
Yeah. Mahrez flags up. Offside to frustrate Manchester City again.
Really disappointed that he just ran offside there. That's what he's been looking for, that big ball over the top. Great first touch from him.
Diallo is going to take the free kick. 22-year-old French player, left-footed. So he fits in nicely on the left centre of the defence. Yuri Shaheen. Philip lays it off. Then Dahoud. Tolya. Wolf is ahead. They found him. Good run by the tall blonde-haired Wolf behind Ovsinchenko for the corner.
He's playing very high on the right-hand side. He was looking for the cutback. There wasn't anybody they could play it into the 6-yard box for. Almost a clever ball. But they've been more of a threat getting in behind Man City than the other way round. Again, zone marking this time from Manchester City.
Sancho with the corner kick. It goes a long way. Volley's blocked on the way through. And it's the flag up. Yes, it is. That won't count. No second goal.
They tried to take it quickly, but a roll-in ball. The assistant on this near side put his flag up very quickly there when that first shot came in. Here it comes again. There's the shot. Now it's offside on this next one here. Right decision.
Yeah, absolutely the right decision. Nothing for Philip there. Free kick to Manchester City. Can they find another gear here? Maybe they need to bring on some of those substitutes to see if they can just change the game. Among them, by the way, is Patrick Roberts, who's been doing pretty well for Celtic in the last couple of seasons. Injury rather restricted him last year. Garcia. Denier wide for Alexander Zinchenko. Good ball that. Mahrez. Wanted to drive in the area. Didn't quite get the control he was looking for. It's away by Diallo. Raheem Diaz. Very well watched by Diallo. Pretty cool since he's come on back there.
She's hoping that Pep Guardiola doesn't bring off Mahrez. He's just started to walk to this game. He's having a bit of an impact on it now.
Shaheen. Just carrying that little bit of extra menace in this match.
Man City haven't really got enough support from the front player in Mecha. Midfield players that want to go back and get the ball. There hasn't been enough forward movement. Foden's made a couple of runs. So too Diaz. Not enough really.
Sancho. Looking to return to the days when they won 2 titles under Jurgen Klopp and really did shake up Bayern Munich for a while. It didn't really help them when they had to sell a lot of their best players to Bayern Munich.
Hummels being one of them.
Yeah, Lewandowski and Goetze when he went. Teams rather different. Of course, Gundogan has found his way to Manchester City. Is another of those who are absent here because he was with Germany at the World Cup. Tolian now for Dortmund. Philip. Wolf. It's a reasonably experienced team Dortmund have got out in the second half. He's showing a bit.
And some very good young players that play for Germany's under-21. Substitutions for Man City.
So there's a couple of changes coming up with Manchester City. Cameron Humphreys, the defender, is going to come on. He has seen first-team action in the past. He made the Australia tour a few years ago when he was only 16, Humphreys. And was in an England under-17 squad at the age of 14, unbelievably. Here's Mahrez, he stays on. The sports scientists will have informed the coach exactly how many minutes each player is probably capable of at this stage of the pre-season build-up. And remember, the big games are still 2-3 weeks away for City. Harrison's done well there and gets it offside. He was brought down as well by Diekman, but the flag was already up, so that foul won't count.
Well, he'd have been sent off.
Yeah,
Had he not been offside there. It was a tight decision. Lovely little ball by. I don't think he was offside when the ball was played. That's a reckless challenge, a desperate one. Another substitute.
Well, that is a big call, as you said, because if he wasn't offside, that's red because he's denied him the goal-scoring opportunity. I don't think that's a triple jeopardy one either. Piper was the player involved. The International Champions Cup is presented to you by Heineken. Open your world, enjoy responsibly. Borussia Dortmund found the right coach this time in Lucien Favre.
It was the first touch for Bashiru for Manchester City. He's come on into midfield. Cameron Humphreys has gone in at the back for Denayer.
Tom Dele Bashiru is only 18, a bit of a powerhouse by reputation in the academy. He did make his debut in the League Cup game against Leicester City, getting on as a substitute. Always a huge moment for any young player, that being in the first team proper for the first time. Nervous wrecks, I should think.
Yes. He's finding it much harder in this second half. Jack Harrison up against Tolian. He's getting tight to him. Certainly had the beating in the first half of Bockhorn.
Douglas Luiz is beaten by Nuri Sahin in midfield, and now Dortmund can break again here with Gomez. Sancho. Garcia, who hacks it gratefully away for Manchester City.
There was a chance, Sancho up against Bolton, who had to get out there quickly. Might make the most of the situation. We talk about Foden being the player of the tournament, the World Under-17 World Cup. Well, earlier on, for them to qualify, they won the European Championship, and Sancho was the player of the tournament.
Looks confident on the ball, just Jadon Sancho. It's Dahoud. Too much on that. Too much juice. By a long way. Nice surface here at Soldier Field. You know, I'm old enough to have been here in the 1994 World Cup. I remember Germany. There's quite a big German community in this area. They were based around here and played a lot of their group action in this city. And Mecha did well there.
That's what we've been waiting for, the big diagonal. Out to Mahrez, cutting infield, good run from Mecha. Lovely little reverse ball, and he does well just to buy that side, bit of space for himself. He's starting to come into the game now, the centre forward.
Slightly better spell for Manchester City. That's Dahoud wearing the number 19 shirt for Borussia Dortmund today. Sancho just losing control of it. Here is Mahrez. What will Leicester City do without him, I wonder? Sancho. Nice football from him. Gomez. Sancho. Powerful, great work. Look at that from Jadon Sancho. Joe Hart is forced into the save and dives again. Well, twice there, Borussia Dortmund could have struck.
Well, good play from Sancho. Good composure right at the end. There's the first strike, second one coming in. Philip, the first one from Dahoud. Decent save from Joe Hart.
Yeah, make him feel a little bit better about things. Must be a bit strange for him to be back at Manchester City, bearing in mind all the background.
When you know a manager doesn't want you, it's very hard to be motivated. He's just got to think about the next move, just keep himself in shape, in form. Didn't really work for him at West Ham.
Here's Cameron Humphreys.
Now they're going to make some more substitutions right in front of us here.
Now the cavalry are arriving now. Loads more players. Patrick Roberts is going to come on.
Leroy Sane, I think, is amongst them.
Yes, he is, yeah. Wearing number 19 shirt on. He comes.
We are going to see the end of Riyad Mahrez. Much better in the second half from him. Much better from Mecha as well. Centre forward, who's now off.
And Nabil Touaisi, a 17-year-old Spaniard, has come on to play further forward. Joined the academy from Valencia last year. Touaisi. Is Sane. Goes on a big run. Penny for his thoughts as he lay on the beach and saw those Germany results coming in. Scarcely believable defeat to South Korea in Kazan, which sent Germany home early.
I would suspect a slight chuckle, even though he'd probably want his country to win. When you're not involved and you've been left out in the squad, I'm sure you want them to do particularly well.
Shaheen trying to find Wolf. Zinchenko. Sane. Good challenge by Dahoud, who likes to get a foot in there in midfield. There's a lot of action in the Bundesliga last year. Sancho. Gets it back again. Keen to take on players as well. He's taken the eye more than Phil Foden, hasn't he, today?
Yeah, certainly has, since he's been on. He's a very talented player. Exceptional skill. Just needs to find the end product at times.
Garcia staying on and finding Cameron Humphreys. Got lots of action from this ICC and an MLS doubleheader for you on Thursday on ESPN. Orlando City against New York City at 8 o'clock Eastern, and then it'll be the LA Derby, LAFC and the Galaxy in action at the Bank of California Stadium, and it's available as well on the ESPN app. Still just the one goal in it. Can Manchester City find their way back into the argument? A little bit of jet lag for the Manchester City players who've only been in the United States for about 3 days so far. In the heads of some of them, it's going to seem like it's about 3 o'clock in the morning. I know the feeling.
You do a lot of travelling all around the world.
This time last week I was in St. Petersburg covering the World Cup, so it's these days it's a busy old summer. Jadon Sancho again.
He's had an influence on the game. Shaheen in that central midfield area since he's been on.
Yeah.
To Liverpool, it didn't really happen for him there.
One of the survivors of that 2013 Champions League final squad. He came on in the 92nd minute of that game, Shaheen. Players who had to battle back from a cruciate injury in his career.
One of the problems he had at Liverpool was when he first went there, he wasn't fully fit. He got into the team quickly, didn't play particularly well. The crowd got onto him a little bit. It's always difficult then to change things or turn things around.
Free waving hits to get on with it a little bit. So the ticket sales for this game have been good, and they always are for these kind of matches in the United States. Real appetite to see the top European teams in action. Gomez it was.
Some supporters are more pleased to see you by the reception you got around the place.
Well, not all of them. Makes a change, I can tell you.
Good switch of play from the substitute to Isi.
This ball down the line. In the end, that's too heavy. Ball from Deli Bashiru.
There's a lovely little one, or should have been, with Roberts playing out on that far side, left footer. Doing the job that Mahrez was doing. Suck the defender in, try to play the square 1-2, not good enough. Deli Bashiru.
Roberts it's quite an interesting story, isn't it? Manchester City bought him from Fulham for £12 million, and he couldn't really get a look in, and he's been part of the treble-winning successes at Celtic. But I think he's made it pretty clear he wants to be at another Premier League club for this coming season. So he's out there now. Here's Philip. Nice footwork from him. Smart piece of play. Dahoud. Sancho wants it. Shaheen to lay it wide. Sancho again.
I've seen a lot of Sancho, and he's an excellent player. He's got great talent, but he does frustrate teammates. He doesn't always make the right decision, doesn't always play the right pass.
That'll come though, won't it?
Hopefully it will. The right coach, the right attitude. Is he a good reader of the game, an understander of the game?
It's a great experience, isn't it, for some of these young players to come to the United States and play against famous teams like Borussia Dortmund.
Well, they're taking a risk here.
I didn't go outside the area.
Not quite sure why they want to play it from the back there. Manchester City are pushing on. They've got 5 players pushed on. You've got to go that little bit longer.
I've always had a bee in my bonnet about that. I think that should be an offence.
Yes, I agree with you.
If you deliberately stop the ball coming out of the area, there's been a mistake made, hasn't there? And the opposition are unable to do anything about it. So, they might just have a little look at that. Far be it from us to reinvent the laws of the game. But here's the talking point.
One they're all talking about, changing the rules for handball, isn't it, after the World Cup final?
Well, they've got to make that clearer, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've got to make it much clearer what constitutes deliberate handball. Spell it out. Here is Roberts.
There's more than one bee in your bonnet, isn't there?
Well, I think everyone who follows this game have got a few, haven't they? It's what makes the world go around in football, the talk, the chat. Love it, really. Leroy Sané laying it inside. I think that was the biggest selection shocker of the lot ahead of the World Cup. I couldn't believe they hadn't put him in. Sané. Not after the season he'd had.
And how well I'd seen him playing some of the qualifiers in the friendlies for Germany.
Sancho. Seen a lot of the ball on that side. Nice play to Hood. Well defended in the end by Bolton.
Lovely little nutmeg. Dahoud, attacking midfield player, gets Bolton squared up. There's it through his legs, gets the other side. Bolton did well to recover.
He did.
Give him some credit, the defender.
That was the old see you later moment, wasn't it? Play by Mahmoud Dahoud. It's not really away here. It's come out to Gomez. Not a good ball, will be a corner.
There's a chance to whip that ball into a dangerous position. Manchester City were coming out. Borussia Dortmund players were going in. It needed a better cross from Gomez.
8 minutes to go. Still Dortmund leading by that Mario Götze penalty kick. Bouncing around really dangerously, goes around for a goal kick in the end. Not very well dealt with by the City defence.
Very well dealt with by the goalkeeper either. Joe Hart started to come, got caught in no man's land. Indecisive.
Zinchenko and Douglas Luiz.
Of all the players on the Man City team, he's probably been the most disappointed. Douglas Luiz, the Brazilian. Playing in that holding midfield role, hasn't really defended particularly well, hasn't gotten the ball and made things happen. Big chance for him to impress his manager.
Diekman. Back to Diallo. There's another phase still to come of Borussia Dortmund's pre-season. Every year they go to Switzerland, and they're doing that between the 1st and 8th of August this year. It's a long build-up to the season. Some teams are playing 11 or 12 games before they start the serious action. You get squads these days that get to the first day and they've got about 6 players injured. Bashiro.
Some coaches like to have lots of games and not do too much coaching out in the training field. They do it through the games. Other coaches like less games and more coaching. Try and get their points across behind closed doors on the training field, working day in, day out.
Excellent flick. Dahoud. Here's Jadon Sancho again. Out on the day here, Dortmund have been the better side.
And there you see the frustration. It's a good ball out to him. He goes and wins it, and then he takes too long on the ball. Should be running at Bolton there, 1v1. Tries to be a little bit too clever, a bit too arrogant.
Goalkeeper's had a good day back there. One really notable save, which will get him some nice write-ups tomorrow morning, I think. Following this ICC match, stay tuned for Sports Centre with Linda Cohn and John Buchigros. They'll get you caught up on the day's news and highlights, including Manny Machado's Dodger debut and Tiger Woods making the cut at the Open, though he's still got a bit of work to do on that leaderboard, last time I checked anyway.
Some good runs, Wolf, since he's been on. Either down this right-hand side or there he came across, trying to get between the two centre-halves. He's got decent pace, he's a strong runner. As he gives the ball away.
Yeah. Sane. Nicely done to Izzy. See the idea, Roberts. Still might be something to Izzy. Just hurried it a little bit. It wasn't the most effective last ball, but that was something better from Manchester City.
Yeah, I think Roberts really disappointed with Sane for not attacking the ball that he crossed into the box.
Sane with 10 goals and 15 assists in the Premier League last season. Here's the corner. Be easily defended. Deli Bashiro. By Bolton, in by Roberts again. Maximilian Philip was back doing the defending. Dortmund want this win now, little morale booster.
The players say results, the coaches say sometimes the results don't matter in pre-season, but it certainly does give you that confidence, gives you that belief.
You get 3 points for a win in the ICC tournament, 2 if you have a win in a penalty shootout. And, if it's level after 90 minutes, it does go straight to a shootout. There is none for a loss, of course. That's offside.
That was a tight call. Good run from Deli Bashiro, or looked like a good run. Just had a shot there. Certainly didn't see it, the defenders.
It's just something unexpected, wasn't it? A defensive midfielder player getting ahead of a striker.
You have to see it as a back four. Midfield player didn't go with it. The centre half didn't see it. It's a tight call by the assistant on that far side.
The City goal would probably now take us to those penalties. 88th minute, though. To be honest with you, apart from that big save, Marvin Hink hasn't had an awful lot to do. Zinchenko, that's a sloppy piece of work from him.
Here comes the big diagonal. No, he doesn't play it in the end.
Instead it's Patrick Roberts. Taking to Diallo on that side. Roberts again. Apologies from him.
Always risky from the goalkeeper as it rolling towards you and you control it rather than pick it up. He needs a slight bobble, although too many bobbles on this good pitch here.
By the way, also in action in this ICC this year, Real Madrid, the European champions, Manchester United, Liverpool, Tottenham, Juventus, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, Benfica, Roma, AC Milan. It's quite a list. Every team will play 3 games in it. Dahoud. Spread wide by Gomez towards Jadon Sancho. 2 minutes of added time there's going to be at the end of this. That's all, not much.
It has been a very competitive game. The youngsters trying to prove themselves, some senior players playing their part as well. They're trying to get fit. Borussia Dortmund under a new coach, you've got to get into his style, the way he wants to play the game.
It's a fantastic place to go and watch a football match, isn't it? Dortmund, it really is. Huge yellow wall of fans, and then after every game the players join hands and go over and mix with the supporters. It is quite something. Last season the truth of the matter was that he just about scraped 4th place.
We had a centre forward who didn't really want to be there in Aubameyang, which didn't help. Peter Bosch, former Ajax coach, came in and had a decent start, but it fell away and he left. Really quite got it right last year.
Didn't work out for Peter Stöger either. He was always seen as something of a stopgap, wasn't he? Lucien Favre, he's pretty demanding with the players, but he does do it with a lightness of touch. Which sounds quite a nice mix, really. It's Louise. Manchester City are almost out of time here now, though. Need to get a move on. Cameron Humphreys now. Won't be any heartbreaker this for Manchester City, but I get the feeling Pep Guardiola doesn't really like losing any football match of any description.
I think the plus point for him would have been the performance of Jack Harrison in the first half. For Favre, he'll be pleased with 1 or 2 of his players. This obviously won the penalty, played well in that first period. Also seem a bit sharper all around the field. So a good performance from his team.
Spread by Zinchenko towards Roberts, brought away by Jadon Sancho. I hear everything you say, Stuart, about him needing to just sharpen up a bit with final ball and that sort of thing, but he does look a talent, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Good cross from him that time. When he does things at pace, when he's positive, that's when he looks a top-class player. When he starts taking his time and rolling his foot over the ball, he just loses that little bit of momentum. He's not so effective.
Because he's inherited Ousmane Dembele's number 7 shirt, hasn't he? He was transferred for a lot of money to Barcelona. And that is it. Game over here. Manchester City beaten. They weren't really much of a threat on the day, in all honesty. A lot of changes, of course. Borussia Dortmund winning with a Mario Götze penalty in the first half. Good debut by Marvin Hink, the goalkeeper. So for Stuart Robson, this is Ian Dunn. We hope you've enjoyed it from Chicago. Stand by for more ICC action in the next few days. But for now, from both of us, bye for now.